Hello, and welcome to my project, my presentation. I'm excited to share it with you, and I wanted to just kick off with this key quote. I think it's really relevant to the course that we've been studying, and it goes, "The correct place to start with your career is what I want to learn, not how much money do I want to make, not what title do I want to have." And often, as people, when we think about this question, what I want to learn, we might think, okay, so what do I want to study at university? And then we might go, okay, so what modules do I want to take? And this leads us to a point where we sort of build up this sphere of knowledge or skills, and this can be useful to us. We learn some interesting things, but then we get into the wider world and we realize, wow, it's a big world out there. We've learned some good things, and the university, I guess, have dictated what's good for us to learn within our courses. But we get out to the wider world and we're like, wow, where do I go now? There's a huge amount of other skills I don't necessarily have. Um, where do I want to take this degree? Do I want to even work in something related to it? It can be quite a scary and daunting time. And often when we get into real world settings, we realize that a lot of skills overlap. So you may have these business skills that you've learned from your degree, and they're more sort of theoretical. And then you have soft skills, and you may have sort of lacked some soft skills. So if you see this person here, if they knew everything about business, theoretically this Venn diagram would be full. The yellow circle would fill it. And obviously that's not realistic, but so their dot is somewhere within that circle. Not They haven't got as many soft skills as they'd like, and that's sort of they're making them struggle a bit more with their graduate job search. Their tech skills aren't where they need them to be either, and often they have there's a required skill set, and maybe this is for a grad job they want, or they want to do a startup, or they want to do a project, and their is good and has given them some skills, but there's a lot they don't have that they sort of require. Only 34% of students feel confident they'll graduate with the skills and knowledge needed for career success. And this just sort of shows this diagram. And recruiters are now 5 times more likely to search for new hires by skills rather than education or credentials. So how do we bridge this gap between our current skill set and our required skill set? The answer is experiential learning, learning through reflection on doing. And in other words, doing the real thing. Doing the real thing is, for two reasons, very effective. Firstly, we have much higher retention rates. It's found that we're 70% more likely to remember stuff that we do versus what we see or hear after 2 weeks. More importantly, we uncover unknown unknowns. When you do something for real, so this is the retention rates. It's a graph by Dale, and it shows we're 70% higher, more likely to remember. But we uncover unknown unknowns. 70% of participants only discovered critical gaps in their understanding after attempting hands-on problem solving. It shows that often we don't understand what we don't know, and so we do it. And the best way to do that is to do the real thing. But often we can't do it alone. So how do we find people to do the real thing with? Peer pitch. This is where peer pitch comes in. We can connect, create, and learn. So what is Peer Pitch? Peer Pitch is a talent network platform centric around skills matching, collaborative learning and action, and it allows people to list their time availability and willingness to collaborate. This is something that I found was lacking with things like LinkedIn. You may have a network of people, but you don't know how much time they have or whether they're willing to work with you. And often you could cold email 200 people and get nothing back, or no one to work with. Fiverr as well is another key one. Fiverr is obviously the freelance site where you can find people with skills that you might need. But the difference with Fiverr is that it's more you're paying for a service rather than a two-way collaborative learning sort of opportunity. So I'm going to do a quick case study to show you how the app works. So this is Flo. She's currently working on a student circular fashion company, and she needs help building a website. Her skill set looks something a bit like this. She's got strong soft skills. She's good at business. She did a business management degree, so she has a fair amount of understanding in that within her sort of field. Um, Meet Sam Taylor. He has some skills and experience at building websites. He's a computer science student, and his learning goals are to further develop his web development skills and work on a real project. So Sam's skills look a bit like this. He's got some soft skills. He's very, very techy. He lacks a bit of business acumen, and that's why he maybe hasn't been involved in as many real projects as he could have done. But what's key here is there's an incentive for both sides to be here. Sam has skills that are of use to others and desire to learn in real world settings. Flo has got a project idea, but not all the necessary skills to bring it to life. So this is how it works. So Flo will list her ideas on there and her projects and the skills that she requires, her collaboration styles, the help needed, a description of her project. On the flip side, we have a talent pool. So it's a bit like a dating app. Flo will flick through a selection of different people, and she can find people with different skills, so web developers, tech students, app developers, and she can scroll through. And she's found Sam that seems like a good applicant. So she's requested a picture of him. And she may have done this with 10 different people that she thought well actually could potentially help her. And there's a match. So Sam accepts the request. He really likes the sound of Flo's project. He thinks it's really exciting. He wants to get involved. So they connect and they start working together and expand their skill set and become better at that thing. So Flo expands her skill set, leaning more towards the technical side, so she gets closer in this technical knowledge. Sam is expands his technical expertise into business, understands a bit more about business, expands his soft skills, which is really key. And then later down in the project, they might want someone that's good at social media, or might want someone that's good at marketing, or even photography. Could be a sort of so they find someone else and recruit them. And this leads to even further cross-pollination of ideas and knowledge, and they become a really great team, and the project actually starts to become something they're all really proud of. This eventually could lead to, again, bringing back to this holistic idea, the holistic project becomes better quality, more successful, a more successful startup, for example, a more successful project for a society. And the key thing here is there's a lot of real world skill development. All three people are benefiting from working together. And regardless of whether it becomes a successful startup and takes off, everyone involved is better off in a better position to enter the job market in their intended area. So, for example, Flo, her required skill set was this. She wanted to work in this area, and she's pivoted towards that. She's taken her own proactive action to pivot towards where she wants to be. So, think about the bigger picture. We have a beta, we have a product, we have something we're ready to test, and we want to get ready and start testing as soon as possible. So our business model, we're going to launch in Exeter, or we're going to test, sorry, in Exeter. So when I say launch, we're going to launch our validation testing. We're partnering with some key societies to do that testing and onboard some students. So computer science, some of the creative societies, the business societies, business and finance. We're partnering with the pre-incubator program. I'm pitching in January, and if that's successful, pre-incubator program are going to allow us to use this platform within their pre-incubator 2025. So students can find people within that have different skills, and that's a great way for us to test it. And then we're going to try on board as many talented individuals as possible. Beyond that, we intend to grow to other universities, connecting the dots around the whole of the UK. And even things like Falmouth Arts College, things that I think some real value can come from mixing people that wouldn't necessarily cross-pollinate, people that might be good at videography, people that might have a completely different mindset, really gel together and be able to make something a really amazing project together. And the key thing here is democratizing talent and skills. If someone has a really great business idea, they can have access to the rich pool of talent and the best skills possible because people believe in that and want to get involved. So revenue and costs. The costs ordinarily would be app development. My business partner is a computer science student. He's a really good at software, and so this is actually no cost to us currently. Hosting costs, we're also doing free on Vercel, and I've spoken to the technical lead, and he said that we won't need to pay anything to host for quite some considerable amount of time until we get loads of people on into this. So that is also free. Marketing is going to be a cost, but we're going to think strategically. How do we do it organically? How do we get people on without paying a huge amount of money? Revenue. Companies could sponsor this. We think there's a huge amount of potential in companies seeing people doing real life work and experience, and people with the best reviews, people with the best portfolios, could be seen on this app and then picked up by these companies that need people for that specific skill. Further to that, in my report, I said about the sort of skill gap. If companies have areas with skill gaps, they can post these up and say, we need people that are good at this. Is there anyone that's good at this? If not, that's a good place to refine your skills. Um, Secondly, advertisement. Companies can advertise, so the likes of Bright Network, student upskilling, other student advertisement that could be relevant. And then premium memberships. If we get this to a more mature state, we could have premium memberships where people have more visibility, can find the best talent, or we could have people that could maybe sell their skills if they get really experienced, but just within the talent network. So coming back to this idea, the reason why is this so meaningful to me? Firstly, I firsthand experienced this fear coming to the wider world. I was looking for a placement. I had no clue. I didn't think I had the skills to get a job. I felt quite helpless and honestly quite scared about my future. I was like, where do I sit? I don't feel ready at all. I don't feel prepared. I really want to build this to help reduce that fear and to bridge the gap between people's degrees and where they want to end up, allowing people to pivot where they want to work, not working somewhere because they have to or they're forced into it, pivoting where their skills lie and where their passions lie. And I really want to democratize the access to skills. Everyone should have access to these things. It should be, if you have the best idea, a great idea, and you're working on it, you should have access to the best talent. Why is that not a thing? And also empowering people to pivot into where they want. And I think that's the really essential thing, and something I'm very passionate about, and is the real sort of true meaning and drive behind this idea. So thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. I appreciate the patience, and I hope you like the project.